I must confess. I do apologize. Consider this an amends. Oh my gosh. Hello and welcome to the Sobriety Bestie podcast. My name is Kirsten. Super stoked you're here today. And I wanted to talk about I lied to you. You may have seen this. You may have recognized this. Your suspicions were right. Well, okay, here's actually what I mean. We just had our Deprogram Zoom call just now, just got off the Zoom call. It's something that we do every month inside the Deprogram Lounge, which is my free community. I'll drop the link below if you want to come deprogram with us. It's a whole vibe. We have a book club and all that stuff. You probably already know this. But somebody on that call just now said, I'm here because I read some of your posts or I watched some of your videos or engaged with some of my content. And I don't agree with everything you said, and I'm like, yes, that's exactly it. The exact thing that I hope that you're thinking is that you don't agree with everything that I say, that you look at some of what I say and you're like, that's not exactly how I see it. That's not exactly what I found. That's not exactly the truth. I'm not intentionally misleading you. That's not what I'm doing here. But the point is that or my intention is that we're on a critical thinking journey together. That's part of the deconstructing from AA. So I don't want you to agree with me completely. In fact, I love it when you don't, because that means that you're critically thinking. That means that's the awakening from being oppressed by a domineering, coercively controlled ideology like Alcoholics Anonymous. So y'all know I was in AA for 10 years and I left 5 years ago. And part of the deconstructing from being in a harmful cult religion like AA is awakening critical thinking. Critical thinking is what initially cracked my brainwashing. You know, I had this moment where I was like, Santa's not real, where all of a sudden I realized AA was bullshit and I needed to move on. It was an instant recognition that what I was living was bullshit or I was Bill boozled by a 12-step ideology. And I knew it wasn't true, but that didn't get it out of my head immediately. It has been, I have found AA ideology to be cunning, baffling, and powerful, if you will, because it's all like the brainwashing goes all deep into the crevices of the mind. And so it's not like I've really just got it out in one fall swoop. But for sure, the majority of the deconstructing work I did was in my first year out of AA. Then I kind of moved on with my life for a couple of years and didn't really think much about it again. And then at 5 years, my 5-year anniversary of leaving AA, I started dissenting online and making content on the internet about leaving AA and the harms of Alcoholics Anonymous. And that's awakened this past, I guess it's been 7 months now, huge second wave of deconstruction. And I'm so glad I've been doing this work of creating this content and doing the research for it and all that, because it's really liberated me way more than I ever knew was available to me. I think that a lot of us might feel like we're good and we're done, and maybe that's true, but there might be more freedom available for us, and there might be more of AA to get out of our head. Now, I don't think recovering from recovery is forever. I think our instincts, our heart, our mind, our gut, whatever, that we'll know when we want to lean into deprogramming or lean out of it or lean back in or whatever, come and go or go deeper, whatever it looks like, you know? So I'm still deconstructing because I'm still finding more pockets of freedom and more ways that I can liberate myself from the oppressive beliefs that AA installed deep within my mind. And so I'm still rewiring my brain out of AA. I'm still reconstructing from AA. And I don't even believe today some of the stuff I believed in April of 2025 when I first started making content about leaving AA on the internet, when I first started deprogramming out loud, dissenting online. And so I didn't look at AA, for example, as a cult religion back then, although initially in 2009, when I first went to AA, I knew it was a cult religion until they told me it wasn't. They told me they're spiritual, not religious, which now I know is baloney. And then they told me we're not a cult, but we need brainwashing, which is more of the brainwashing. And so now I have new perspectives that are, I guess I would say, are more evolved than I did in April of this year, just like 7 or 8 months ago. And I know that I'm going to have new perspectives if I continue deconstructing in 6 months from now, in 3 months from now, if I keep diving into this rabbit hole, this freedom journey that I'm on. And so it's not about agreeing with what I say, because I, quite frankly, don't even agree with everything that I've said. It's about using what we find, whether the resource is me or a book or a documentary or whatever, and seeing what vibes with us, critically thinking about it, integrating it. Obviously, you don't need my permission for this, but I know that I just wanted to say it, that for the people who comment things like, "I don't agree with everything you say," but I'm like, that's exactly what I hope everybody is experiencing. Because that blind faith that I call it, you know how AA in the back of the book, it talks that Herbert Spencer quote, I think that's his name, about contempt prior to investigation, like the way to keep a man in everlasting ignorance is contempt prior to investigation. And I understood that as like to not judge the higher power thing or the 12 steps before you actually try it. So it's like fake it till you make it, just do it. Don't think about it, just dive in, get indoctrinated, get fully brainwashed, don't judge it. And you'll just start living this trudge the road to happy destiny. You'll be happy, joyous, and free. Do what we do, get what we get, whatever. Go to any lengths, all that shit. And now I realize that a lot of what was happening in AA actually was belief prior to investigation. So I don't want to be at all on my own journey of life on belief prior to investigation. And I would invite you to consider the same. Do not believe what people are saying, right? Including me, obviously, because I don't even believe all of it later. So it's about, yeah, it's about being on the critical thinking journey. And so if you would like to comment below things that I've said that you don't agree with, welcome, bring it. Because for me, even though I feel inspired to make this video right now for you, it's also more relevant in a way what everybody else is thinking. I'm just one mind, one perspective, you know? And so when we all put our comments together and our thoughts together below, we can catch the vibe of what we think better and what the community thinks better and what people who are deconstructing think. And we could find, I don't know, for me, when I look at a bunch of different perspectives, that's when I can find my own. And ever since leaving AA, I have this thing that I do now. I don't know. I'm like such a geek at heart. I am always taking online courses. I am always reading books. I am always learning, rabbit holing, all the things. I just am curious, super curious. And so I dive in. I love learning. I've always been that way. The thing that I do now on a topic that I did not do when I was in AA is I like to read around the perspectives. So for example, when I first started learning about autism, when I first started realizing that I was having a lot of the traits, I was struggling with my sensory system, like just a lot of things were pointing to these are what are considered autistic traits or autistic symptoms or however you want to think about that. And so when I wanted to learn about autism, I didn't just drop into one ideology of autism. I literally went to Google and I typed in, what are all the ideologies of autism? And like, what do the people over here think? What do the people over here think? What do the people over here think? If I kind of tap in and listen to the different communities and conversations and see what different people are thinking across all the perspectives or as many of them as I can find what feels right to me and truly take what I want and leave the rest or critically think, find my own way by looking at all the ways. So that's something that I do now. Yes, it takes more work, but if it's an important topic, like for me, autism is an important topic. So if it's an important topic to me, I do want to look at it at all angles. And for sure, recovery and addiction are important topics to me, as it probably are for you. And so I want to understand different perspectives, different views so that I can find my own in that. Not that what I find is right, but what I find is right for me. So I hope you disagree with me on a lot of stuff. And if you want to share that in the comments, that's great. Now, look, to be honest, if you are fully in AA as a true believer, I'm less interested in like people trying to prove to me that AA is the way. I get that. I speak that language. I spoke that language for a decade. That's not new for me. That's not critically thinking for me. To me, group think is kind of boring. I already know what it is. I know what AA ideology is. So if somebody wants to like come and combat me from the AA ideology and like, I don't know, I'm just less interested in those conversations because I get it. And the way that I feel, this also came up on our Deprogram Zoom just now. I feel like when somebody from AA wants to engage with me, which is fine, fair enough, but I feel like it's like they're coming speaking English and I speak English and Greek. And so if I want to speak Greek, let's call it deconstructed AA, and let's call it English like AA. So if they want to speak English, that's fine. I speak English. I could speak to them in AA terms. I understand them. I can hear them. I comprehend them. I have empathy for them. I get where they're coming from. But if I want to speak from a deconstructed perspective and I want to be like, hey, look, the disease concept, it's a concept, it's an idea, it's not a fact. Like this fatal progressive disease, it's an idea from the 1930s. Like that's not like reality of what all the medical practitioners think. Or if I want to talk about Sinclair method or I want to talk about recovery is not forever. So these are like deconstructed perspectives. And so somebody who's inside that ideology, it's like they don't speak that language, so they can't hear it. So when I'm saying like I really welcome critical thinking, I'm not as excited or interested really in talking, having the conversation with somebody who's stuck inside of a group think. To me, that's like, yeah. And I don't mean to be rude by it, but it just feels a little bit boring because it's predictable, because I don't really know what the individual thinks because it's not an individual thinking. It's a group think, which is clear. I know what it is. So if you have ideas that you feel like I haven't shared on this channel yet, and you're kind of like, why doesn't she talk about this? Or why doesn't she talk about this? Definitely drop them below. Share your opinion below. Let's all like liberate ourselves together in the comments. Let's all awaken to deeper critical thinking in the comments. So if there's something that I said that's not true, it wasn't intentional. I'm not here to mislead anybody. I don't mean to lie, but I certainly don't know all the things, obvious fuckingly. And I'm a work in progress and I'm always evolving. And I certainly hope you don't agree with everything I say. I probably wouldn't agree with everything that you say. And I love that. I love that. And can we normalize that? Can we normalize like having our truth not need to like match exactly with somebody else's and not assault anybody for not having the same belief system? All right, y'all. So I just wanted to say that I hope we don't see eye to eye on everything. And I would love to learn from you too in the comments. So feel free to drop your perspective below. And yeah, I'm always learning. I've learned so much from the DMs that I receive from people like you and comments from people like you. I love the recommendations. Like when I get a comment like, "Hey, you should check out this book," and it's a perspective that I haven't been aware of yet, like, I love that. I do wanna have a well-rounded perspective. I do wanna understand addiction and recovery and life after recovery from all angles. So I welcome it all. Critical thinkers, let's unite. Team freedom. Here for it. All right, bye. I'll see you in the next video.